If I really want to change right now, I can change right now. I'm changed. If I tell myself, I will change, because you're telling your mind to change, and it is happening.
Spirituality teaches us to be creative in the way we respond to life. You know, we've lived a life of automatic reactions, which becomes our sanskar, no?
If I can see my film's mistake, then I can definitely see my life's mistakes also. As I said, humans बहुत चालाक होते हैं, उनको मालूम होता है कि क्या गलतियां की है, एक्सेप्ट बेशक नहीं करें, लेकिन मालूम होता है कि मैंने क्या क्या गलती किया है, who the people I have hurt, who the people I have behaved wrong, who are the people I could have done better, where my Maya has played worst. So I know all that, and I think these are all correction methods.
So Shoojit, I don't think you realize the power you have beyond this, because now you have built a relatable story, you've built trust with millions of audiences. Whatever you do next or whatever you do in the future, they're going to trust you and probably make transformational decisions. A very warm welcome to another enlightening episode of the ThinkRight Podcast today. And we are really privileged to have with us someone who has not only entertained millions, but all of his works have always inspired thought, reflection in a very different way. Yes, we are joined here with Shoojit Sircar, the celebrated filmmaker, won multiple national awards. As many of you know, Piku, Pink, you can go on taking names of movies, and we'll get into some of those discussions as well, to be here with us, to really talk about a journey which has, shaped you and shaped the thoughts of millions of people. And we are, of course, very privileged to have with us our ever-inspiring and radiant sister, BK Shivani. So thank you for joining us here, on this podcast. So as we begin, Shoojit, thank you for being here. And I just thought might be a good way to kickstart this conversation is, what got you into this entire creative journey of filmmaking, and was that something you felt you were destined to do, or is something that just came along as you lived through your life? So take us a little bit through that journey.
Yeah, thank you so much for inviting. In my case, nothing was planned, that I will be in a creative journey, and especially in cinema. I'm basically a sports person. I love sports, and I still play sports. And there are days that I sometimes leave my film shoot and go and play a sport. And all my crew members are sometimes, what is this going on? There's so many people waiting on the set, and you're going to go for a match. I said, I have a match, I have to go wrap up the shoot. So that's what I have done many a times. So that's always driven me. It's never that, and I'm a student from Delhi, from Kendriya Vidyalaya, Andrewsganj. And then I went to Bhagat Singh College, Delhi University. My stream was commerce. I don't know why I choose commerce. I have no idea still, I could have gone for arts or, but at that time, if you take arts and you are like, you're nobody. You are looked down upon because even you take arts. Now I realize how arts is so important, but anyway. So it is a funny journey for me, because I played sports, and so one of the hotels, at that time in the 90s beginning, there's a hotel named Le Méridien in Janpath in Delhi, if you remember.
Yeah.
See how everything is connected. And then Le Méridien, they asked me to play a match for them. They just hired me, okay. They were losing match against Taj and ITC. so Le Méridien, they had an ego issue, we have to win. So they hired me like a casual worker in the housekeeping, and said, will you play a match? I said, yes, I'll play a match. Why not? They were paying me money, so I thought, and so I said, fine. And they hired me, and we win that match. And then, of course, everything was over. Then after a month, they thought that, okay, no, humko bhi football team banana chahiye. So they put me in the accounts department. What do you do? I said, I do accounts. I have not finished my graduation, and I get a job. And from there, in Le Méridien, if you know Delhi, from Janpath to National School of Drama is a walking distance, and Kamani Theatre is just a walking distance. And NSD used to be the hub of theatre. Basically, all the big actors from, in Bollywood or anywhere in the world are from National School of Drama. So that was the hub of, what you say, actors, directors, creative, exchanges happening. Even Sahitya Natak Academy is also there. Sahitya Kala Academy is also there. So in Delhi. So I used to walk there during the lunchtime and just see them. I mean, I had nothing to do with them. Till that time, I have got nothing to do with theatre, nothing to do with cinema. My cinema, looking at cinema was different. But this everyday walk to this theatre just made me, I don't know, something happened. And then one day I left the job and I joined a group named Act One. So run by a gentleman, N.K. Sharma. So we all, and me, my contemporaries from there are Manoj Vajpayee, Piyush Mishra, Ashish Vidyarthi, Imtiaz Ali, Swanand Kirkire. We're all from the same group. Gajraj Rao. So many of them. In the first meeting only, I was with them. And yeah, that's how this, I think, something, and that's how I started this creative journey, possibly. I wanted to express, possibly, maybe this was the way.
Platform.
Yeah, platform, possibly. It was theatre, but then moving from theatre to cinema it's not an easy journey. It's like a tough. But I think how you take that journey is very important. If you take that journey is every moment that you're learning and moving on, and you're taking it as an opportunity to grab something and move forward. I think that's what I did. So I don't call this a struggle at all, but I think I call this all, I think, nice happenings that have happened.
Joyful ride. It sounds, you make it, the whole journey sounds so comfortable. I think it's also your state of mind, the way it is
because
today.
at the age now, when you learn and you go back, and at this age, I'm now 50 plus. When you realize those moments now seem very minuscule, very, 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 you don't, I thought I was worrying about that. So, I was worrying about that. I mean, that went off. I passed that, So when you go back now, you think you think like that. Yeah.
Sometimes you wonder, and Sister Shivani, maybe a good place to bring you in. Everybody wonders between destiny and free will, right? I mean, you just explained a journey, right? When you look back, or when you're living from moment to moment and, moving forward, how should one really think between these two aspects, right? Because sometimes someone will say that you were destined to, probably go from sports to here, whereas others will say, you use your free will at every given point in time, and this is where you are, and you'll continue, to do so. So how should someone think about something like this?
So both are working together. Simultaneously, it's working together. Every moment it's working together. Free will is the karma that I'm creating now. It's my free will. So how I think about you, how I speak about you, how I'm talking to you, behaving, this is my free will. So everything I'm being and doing now is free will. Everything that's coming to me. So there's two energies at every moment. One which I'm creating and sending out into the world, and one which is coming from the world to me in terms of situations, in terms of people's behavior, in terms of health of my body sometimes. Anything that's coming to me. So what's coming to me is destiny. How I'm responding to what's coming to me is my karma. It is my free will. So, and what has created the destiny is my past karma. So even that destiny has been created by me, that's why we say everything is predestined. Predestined means previously written destiny. So if you look at karma as an energy ball, what I create now is the ball that I'm throwing out. This ball is going to return. It may return after 1 minute, 1 hour, 10 years, 100 years. By the time of 100 years, I would have changed this costume, because the karma was created by the soul, not by the body. So the karmic account is only of the soul, nothing to do with the body. So I will change my dress, my karmic journey still continues. So that ball will return. This is my destiny. Now how I respond to it is my free will. So every moment, my past karma is coming to me. Whatever is happening, my past karma is coming to me. How I respond now is my present karma, and my present karma is writing my future destiny. So we call it Trikal Darshi, which means three aspects of time: past coming to me, present getting created, future getting decided. This is happening every moment. So past, present, future getting decided. So the stream he was choosing, what he was learning, present karma. Present karma. This is also creating your present sanskars, your present personality. What suddenly comes to you in your life, which you haven't worked for now in your present karma, but it just comes to you, is your past karma, which is coming to you as your destiny. How you respond to that now and what you make out of it now, that is your present karma. So both are working hand in hand. Your previously written karma is coming to you as destiny. Your free will is your present karma, and together what you do with the two of them is now going to create your present. So situations will come to us. They can be pleasant situations like this. For some, there can be a challenge. It can be a crisis. It's a past karma returning to me. But how you're going to respond to it will create your destiny today. He got a situation, he created magic with that. Someone can get a situation and not make anything much out of that today. Someone can have a crisis and yet come out of that with stability. But what's coming is past. What I do now is free will. So free will is there at every moment. We don't have to live like a victim to our destiny. We're not a victim to our destiny. At every moment, we are choosing the present destiny by choosing the right karma.
Yeah,
Just to add that, I want to just freewheeling that, I was not good in studies. Because I was all day I'm playing sports. So I was not good studies at all. Now I realize, why I said arts, because in my time, in every family, if you don't get science, you then take commerce. And then if you don't get commerce, then you are the sidelined as you take arts. Chalo. So that time I didn't study anything. And see how wonderful it becomes. And now when I have started doing theatre and films and all, I've started studying psychology, science, maths, history, everything I'm studying, and I'm studying with full interest, I'm deep into it, I'm diving into it. And so now I realize if that time possibly I would have taken arts, I would have been a little better equipped. But fine, because maybe that hunger was there, because I didn't go for arts, I went for commerce, just to be a chartered accountant or a company secretary or something. But maybe my leaning was this side. So, but now I'm studying all that. I'm studying even taxations also.
No, you're so right. In our time, it was always like that. Both of us are engineers because we both did science, if you remember, Sister Shivani, and it was because society just propelled you. This is the grades you got or whatever.
And you won't believe, I have not completed my graduation also. My certificate अभी भी Delhi University में पड़ा हुआ है. Because I could not pass in English and Hindi as a subsidiary subject. So next year I did pass, but I didn't collect my degree. Now, when I'm directed first film, after the second film, when some students saw it, film lovers, you won't believe, there are students from Jadavpur University, there are students from IIM, there are students from IIT who's done mechanical, some has done this. Those students are working with me, and their desire that, okay, we have done science, but finally I want to express. I'm not saying arts, I just want to express possibly. Maybe that expression was important. Arts is fine, but that they are studying now history, psychology, philosophy, the science, zindagi bhar science padha hai, now they want study this, and they are having so much of a joy in just getting that. Just ekdam change, how I'm just seeing it, and just so wonderful to see. Actually, the magic is the right word. It's magic. Every moment is getting created.
And basis to what you just said, that a situation comes to you, you have a free will and you go ahead and create the future. Like, Shoojit, you lost both your parents in 2004, right? I'm sure it must have been really challenging. And at that point, you created this film, October, I believe, is based on, that journey. Right? So some situation came to you, you created something. How was that phase, through this entire journey, and how did that movie really come about? Was there something very personal? So the stories you tell, how do you think about the stories you tell in films, typically?
So mostly all the films that I have done has I have been associated with. I've observed them possibly, or I have been in that situation. So October, if you see, that film deals with hospital and hotel. So both I am equipped with. I have seen what happens in an 5-star hotel backstage. What happens, the grilling that goes through. If you see in that film, you will see the backstage is quite authentic, whether it's a housekeeping or whether it's the cafeteria or the front office. And similar in the ICU, because I've spent 3 months. That was a huge impact on me, because I saw my mom there in comatose for almost 3 months. And how do you deal with a comatose person, and when it's your mother, you don't know anything. Every morning you go, you see her, you see all the sounds, all pumping machines and everything, and also it's the big huge pipes are all, and then you don't do anything. You just go there, you just then walk out, you talk to a doctor for 2 minutes, and then you are in the hospital. So entire day I'm sitting at the hospital. I'm meeting them. I made some friends there from a cafeteria, the other patients who are in the ICU. For 3 months, every day, morning, evening, again, you go and you meet your mother. You try talk to her. You see that she's responding or not. And you see she's not responding. Sometimes there is a flicker in her eyes. And you think there is a hope. You go to the doctor, she flickered. Then they will, in a medical term, tell me that these happens, but she's alive. So, you wait, and then you are there, you become part of this hospital. So all these were a deep impact on me, and I wanted to express it. So in October, I did express through Shivli, who is comatose, she falls, and how the other boy who's in a hotel, it's all about what unconditional love and everything. So I wanted to explore if there is no love, but still if there can be an unconditional love. So that's how all those came from my time that I spent there in the hotel and in the hospital. So it affects. So those observations are very important. So it depends what you observe and what I observe. So it's all very individualistic and subjective. But I think somewhere when you growing up and you're aging and seeing things, and I'm from Kolkata, there is a huge impact of Bengali film from Satyajit Ray or Ghatak. So those, how they used to approach a film, or Tagore, a story of Tagore, or song in Bengali. So all that comes together, and I think then you get into that situation. Dealing with it in 2004, yes, initial there is you take a hit, in terms of your emotions, solid. But in comatose patient, what happens is slowly, you get used to it. You get used to it of the patient who is there, who's more or less dead, but we are pumping something and you have to be there and watching. Normally क्या होता है कि हम जाते हैं कहीं पे तो either somebody has died and we've gone there, but someone, you seeing your mother just lying down for 3 months, nothing. So there is an impact, but there is a learning from there also. You adapt that, it's nothing matters. You'll have to, let it go.
No, I think for anyone losing a parent at any age is a challenge, and especially when it comes to this. But
And a lot
I
of
think-
film lovers got that in October.
Yeah.
A lot of people,
Yeah.
especially there, whose parents or whose someone from the family has, because of stroke or something, have gone on comatose. They could relate to that hospital thing. What happens exactly? That's a different world. That's absolutely different. That world has got nothing to do with this world. That hospital world is a absolutely different world.
Like you rightly put, these are both experiences which are very personal to you, and somewhere you brought that humanism into your cinema because it is touched by what actually people are going through. And I think what you rightly said is you observe things maybe which are outliers, right? And that's what brings that little difference to your thought process. And of course you relate it in a very creative manner, and like what you said, inspired by
I mean, there is a mysticism in everything. So mysticism and art is like, in art or in everyday life, you can find. I mean, just standing here looking out can be a very mystic experience. So it's there in everything. So
the role of creativity in spiritual practice, or maybe I don't know whether one can equate mysticism to creativity, because you're looking for something spark, that's something new. Of course, it has led to the entire progress of mankind has come from creative thought. But how does creativity and spiritualism, how do they interact? What's that relationship?
Spirituality teaches us to be creative in the way we respond to life. We've lived a life of automatic reactions, which becomes our sanskar. No? It's a sanskar. So like he said, what we perceive through every scene. So many people would have sat in the ICU for a couple of months. I mean, every day you go, there are at least 10 people in one ICU because there are 10 patients. Is everyone taking it the same way? Is everyone learning the same way? No. Sanskar of the soul. So every soul is different. Every sanskar of every soul is different. But sometimes we are not creating a shift in our sanskars, the ones which are not the comfortable sanskars. So most of us are living a very automatic way of living. Here comes a trigger, here I react. Here comes a trigger, a happy reaction or an unpleasant reaction, but I'm not choosing the response. So I'm not being creative in the way I could respond to a situation. And suddenly spirituality gives me this power. It teaches me this power that, you're not just an automatic reactor to what the trigger is. You are the creator of your response. So choose your response carefully. Be creative. So you could have said it this way. It's like a filmmaking again. You could have said this line this way. You could have said it this way. You could have brought this emotion into it. You retake it, it'll come out a different way. So that's also creativity. But we don't use that creativity in life. It's just going on the same way. And sometimes we are more like an automatic machine than a human being, because a human being is creative. But a machine is, and so that's why nowadays people say, she said this, so obviously I'll get hurt. Obvious means no creative response. It is an obvious automatic reaction. It's like a machine. She pressed the button, obviously this was. So spirituality gives us that, it gives the mechanism also and gives the power also. Be creative and just keep on working on your creativity, and that's going to take you higher. So how you would respond today would be different than what you responded 1 year back. How you're responding today is going to be different from what you're going to respond the next month, because you're choosing that ability to be creative with your responses. I think it makes life very, very creative, and it makes life fun because it's not monotonous. You're not the same way. You should be a different person next month than what. If you're not different next month from what you are today, then you're not progressing on your spiritual journey. And creativity, not just in verbal and behavioral responses, in your thinking responses. How? So like Shoojit ji said, how you're going to perceive this scene, just looking out of the window. Even that will change every time depending on what vibration you are in your inner self. So then life is not boring anymore. So nowadays people find life very boring. I'm getting bored. Then they're looking for some stimulus outside to entertain them. Life is not boring because there's so much fun going on inside. So there's a lot of creativity that makes life very interesting. So you can never be bored with spirituality, and you can never be lonely. because you love your own company. So these two things are an epidemic right now in the world. WHO has already put loneliness as one of the epidemics. So lonely and boredom cannot come with spirituality. You can sit with hours and hours like this in one chair doing nothing, and you're very happy with yourself.
As a matter of fact, you're excited about what the next moments going to bring. And I think it's so important you bring this mental health issue, because today with like what we are saying is AI and artificial intelligence and technology, which is kind of, painting everybody with the same, brush and, creating this common thing. The only thing that will keep that, person above all of this is probably creativity. And that's what, everyone is saying. And it's brilliant, Shoojit, the way you have discovered that from many different angles and come to that. But taking this word a little further, right, what do you feel has been your most creative piece of work? I mean, you've done so many films where I know each has its own charm.
Yeah.
But personally to you, is there something that has stood out from the others?
No, personally, I would like to change everything what I've done. So I would want to go back and change a lot of things. A lot of mistakes that I can see in my films, I would want to correct them. No, I don't want to pinpoint any, this of a lot of people like Piku. A lot of people hate October. They don't like October because it's slow paced and it's very breathing and moving. All my films are more or less somewhere have got very. It doesn't have a very dramatic things. It just moves like that. Most of my films, I am like that. So somebody when some critics write that it's a slow burn film, I'm very happy. I thank, because slow burn is like a very criticism that this film is not good. So when they say a slow burn film, Shoojit's film, I am happy. I thought, okay, you have understood that at least I'm a slow burn film. I have no problem with telling me that I'm slow. I have no problem in accepting the fact. So because in films, what they in conventional way, every moment that you said that you want something to happen, something to drama, but my view is not that. So in terms of creativity, there is no formula to it. There is no book to it. There is nothing. Yes, you need equipments possibly that to carry it forward. But what I am is I am. There is no possibly second person like me. He must be something else. So I'm saying for everyone, the creativity is his or her own clarity.
And I think what people probably appreciate about your creative angle is the depth that you achieve, right? Maybe, it's not that the emotional depth. And since you mentioned Piku, particularly because, it also had Irrfan, who's not there anymore, but Amitabh and Deepika. How do the characters in the film, how do the actors also relate to this philosophy that you're trying to translate as a director into something, and then that impacting millions? Right? I mean, there has to be a coherent kind of a thing. How was that journey, particularly in Piku's case?
So even Piku is also an observation from everyday life. I mean, I have seen single parents like Piku, like Deepika, and Mr. Bachchan's father-daughter. How in CR Park or somewhere in every family there's one person who's grown up, who's old enough, now looking for attention, all the time, and suffering from all that bowel problems and this. So it is an everyday issue. If you look or see our own living room every morning, this is the conversation we do. And if there are children, then every morning you ask the same questions, hua ki nahi hua, and all that, just going on in the house. What are you eating? What are you not eating? What's good for your bowel? What's not good for your bowel? It is an everyday life which is going on. So we thought to create this everyday mundane living room of a Bengali family, which is actually not a Bengali family, which is in every family. So we thought, let's go with this and let's put a camera in a living room of a house in the early morning and see what happens there. You may get irritated with actually if you're part of that. But if you're observing it, you will just laugh. What the hell are we doing there early morning, waking up, talking every day the same conversations. So, nothing new every day. कि दवाई और ये और खाना कौन बनेगा, ये आया, the house help has come or not, गाड़ी का ये है वो है, all that same thing we talk every day. So मुझे लगा कि इसमें तो I laughed at it because so that's how it all started. And of course, Irrfan came in. Irrfan was a dear friend, and he was. He's my best friend also in the industry. I mean, so he was. So, yeah, I think that film was all about real life moments that I observed. My writer was there, Juhi. She's also was going through her family problem with father, with daughter, handling many things. She's also a single daughter. So all that came together in Piku, and it is, if you see, there is nothing in Piku that's been created artificially from anything. It's all real life moments that I picked it up and threaded it. That's how it is all about.
No, and I think film and cinema have such a large impact, on larger populations, especially when they are able to relate, and maybe that relation also gives you trust. Right, with a director,
wherever
with an actor.
I go now also. Even if I'm in Indigo flight, some air hostess will come and say, thank you for Piku. I have one in the family like that. So somebody will come. I am Piku. I am Piku. I am that. Some boy will come. I am doing this for my father. I am for mother. So it was a very normal and common in everyday life, and you will have to laugh and go with it. I mean, you have no option to do it.
So Shoojit, I don't think you realize the power you have beyond this, because now you have built a relatable story, you've built trust with millions of audiences. Whatever you do next, or whatever you do in the future, they're going to trust you and probably make transformational decisions based on what you tell them. But I will wait for what you're coming up with next. But move to Sister Shivani to say the impact of film and cinema on people, right? Because as much as I know you like to say that, you have to be mindful about the content you consume, because that's your, ingredient for better spiritual thing. Today, there's no going away from a screen, especially younger audiences and others. How can cinema, and particularly what Shoojit is doing, really impact generations? What's that kind of content, like what we are saying, realism or humanism, is that the right form of content to put out? If at all we had to take more content out, what should it be? What can it be?
What shift did it create in you after you consumed that content? It's just simple. Was it just a distractor for you from your stress? You're just watching something, and 3 hours is a distractor for you. And then after the 3 hours, you only have a headache sometimes after consuming something very loud. And you're back to being who you are. Then it's definitely not raised your energy, but probably depending on what you consumed, it must have lowered it. Because every word that you're listening, it becomes a part of your vocabulary. Even what you're watching, it starts becoming your part of your dressing sense. It's a very subtle influence that is there. It is not always just a direct, I learned this from this movie. It's not always going to be so direct. But in a subtle way, if you see, it's like sang ka rang. When a child goes to school at the age of 3, you suddenly start seeing that the child is changing. Their vocabulary is changing. The parents are like, ye shabd kahan se seekha hua hai? Did he learn this word? And then body language will start changing, sometimes dressing sense. And then somebody says, school ja raha hai na abhi. First 3 years, he was in your energy. So he will be how you are grooming him to be. Once you've gone into sang ka rang, so subtle way, it's not you choose to change yourself, it just starts happening. It will just start happening. That's the power of sang ka rang. And that's why we have to be so careful of sang. So in spirituality, we say, sat sang tare, kusang duboe. Which means if it's a negative sang, वो आपको डुबा देगा जीवन में, और अगर वो सत्य संग है, मतलब the sang of truth, वो आपको तार देगा जीवन में. That is the power of sang. It is that powerful. It can either bring you down or it can just take you up. So we have to be so careful with our sang. Now we're going through the area where media is the biggest sang. Earlier it used to be friends. It used to be friends. It used to be books. Which books do you read and who are your friends? That's all that our parents used to take care of. Now you can't even take care of what your child is consuming or anything. So Media is our Sangh. So, of course, media people are responsible for what they are serving to the world. It's actually like food. Are you serving junk food or are you serving healthy food? Is this going to energize the other person? Is this going to deplete the other person? That is a moral karma responsibility of every content creator. Every content creator, because it's your karma. It's not just your profession. It's your karma, and deeper karma, because now one movie is going to millions of people. If that one movie is an energy depleter, then I'm sorry, I'm saying it that way. Then you've created a karma where you have depleted million people energy. So one person does a karma and it depletes million people. So where is the return of that karma going to come? To the creator of that content. One person creates a karma where he changed, shifted in the mind of the person. Imagine that daughter, father, son, what he was talking. It must have shifted the way they're looking at their parents. It must have shifted them from getting irritated sometimes with that parent to shifting to being more compassionate. So that shift, if out of million people, even if 1,000 people had to go through that shift, how many people have the power to be able to shift 1,000 people's minds? But then that has happened through that one movie. So content creators should only keep this in mind. I'm not just doing this to entertain people. I'm also doing this to influence people. And that influence better take them higher, because it's my karma. It's my karma. And especially when it's your profession, you're earning money from there. That money is going to go to your homes. That money is going to feed and educate your children. It's money is creating your beautiful homes. Everything that you're wearing is coming from that money. And are you going to earn that money by depleting people? Are you going to earn that money by taking society to a completely different direction just because that's going to get you more money? Karma-wise, it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work in the right direction. So it's influence, it's sankarang. You have the power. You can take the world there or you can take the world here. But it's not about what you're doing to the world. It's what karma you are creating. So remember, you've thrown the ball out. The ball will first return to you. Leave alone what it does to the world. The ball will return to you. So every content creator has a very big moral responsibility. It's really, really big, really big.
And today's context is even more important because there are so many content creators.
Yes.
Right? Because if you see social media, people are now making their livelihood out of, being content creators, right? In social and many other areas. And I think this is a big message going out to everybody to say that whatever content you put out, look at the impact that it will have. And is it really going to create somehow, the world will always have multiple, kind of content genres, etc., going out. But are you doing the right? What's your message to many of now you have millions of content creators who are in turn impacting millions? Right?
I wrote a poetry about the word content once.
Okay.
In Instagram or somewhere, I think.
Lovely.
When I was there.
Love to hear that.
So I got a lot of laughter from because this word that we have abused so much as a word content. So I wrote a poetry. I asked ChatGPT to write a poetry on that, on the abuse of the word content. But anyway, coming to the
sorry, what did you find? What did you find?
No, I just wrote some absurd thing on content.
Okay.
So it's there possibly. I don't know. I'm not in social media. So I think what Sister Shivani is saying is absolutely a fact of life. And I think that's what we are sometimes quite aware but still unaware. We think about it, but when I apply the actions, that's where it goes wrong, because we start following conventionals, what works, what doesn't work. I'm saying there is no thumb rule for that. There is nothing. And also the choices that you make. Now, if I'm watching on YouTube a content and I know surely that it's very half-baked, the person who is doing has not got full knowledge of it. So there is no point listening to that for me. So that choice is, if he's doing some faffing around and I want to still watch it, it's still something that you're consuming. So choice is there. I mean, you know what to consume. You are very clever. Humans are the sharpest of the humans that I have noticed. Most cunning, most sharp. They are very clever. They know exactly what to consume and what not to consume and what to watch. They know very good for themselves what to do. Most selfish of the breed is humans. So I don't believe and agree that, in terms of what is good for me and bad for me, or what is triggering me that I don't know, that humans don't know, I don't believe that. It is your choice. You want to make that choice. You want to be violent. You want to watch that violence film. Otherwise, somebody will, why cater you a violent film? It's not. I mean, no. And that moral responsibility, yes, it is. How can I get away from my moral responsibility? I have moral responsibility on every action I make. I have to have. It's not a free world कि चल रहा जो मर्जी आ रहा है मैं कर रहा हूँ. Everything has a discipline. Some kind of a discipline that you make. Yes, you can do. Your expression may be different. My expression may be different. My words will be different. As she said, my words can trigger you something else. But I have to be so much conscious and careful that what I choose, the word I choose, and does it make you... Humans का problem मैंने देखा है, मेरा experience है कि वो पलट जाते हैं. जैसे आज ठीक हुआ ना, कल फिर चलो यार कल थोड़ा सा पलट जाते हैं. वो जो consistency is the most important. So I think the spirituality comes because of it just invokes you to make you disciplined. That's what it does. So in cinema also it's that, एक second में अगर आप बहक गए कि oh, that film has worked, so I'll have to make that work, so then you're lost. You make your own what you call narratives. You make your own storytelling, your own observations, your own philosophy. How you want to present it. So yeah, I think that choice is... I mean, मैं तो ये बोलता हूँ कि सब चालाक हैं, सब चालाकी से कर रहे हैं.
नहीं,
कोई किसी को मैं मानता नहीं कि जो चालाक नहीं है. हर इंसान चालाक है.
But what is happening increasingly, Shoojit, today is the conditioning of that mind. You see, today...
No, I'll tell you, I have a problem with that. Why? मेरे नाना जी सारा दिन बैठ के all day पूरा न्यूज़पेपर खत्म करते थे. So बैठे हुए हैं, एक भी चीज नहीं छोड़ते थे. ट्रेन में मैं जाता था, पहले जो ट्रैवल करता था, बस में जाता था. Somebody is doing something. कोई है खा रहा है, बात कर रहा है, ताश खेल रहा है, कोई नॉवल पढ़ रहा है, कोई... Somebody is engaged. I don't believe this modern gadgets और ये आज के दुनिया ना पहले की दुनिया कोई अलग था, ऐसा नहीं है. My observation on this is absolutely wrong. I think it's an engagement of your mind that you want. Pehle, if there are 4 boys traveling, they're talking nonsensical conversation. That is also like swiping only, na? When you're having a nonsensical conversation, what is that? It's going that आपके mobile phone में. So I don't believe that modern technology has made you whatever
condition.
No, I don't think it is a human mind.
No, I agree.
There you got it. So I have an image from when the पहली बार newspapers जब निकला था in the World War 40s or 80s. The entire train station, everybody has a newspaper in the hand. जैसा आज मोबाइल फोन होता है, तो न्यूज़पेपर था. So it is the engagement that you want to get into. Do you want to engage or do you want to engage, and what do you want to get engaged with?
The interesting shift here is, and I'll say this because we are in this technology, in a newspaper, you'll read the front page, you'll read the sports page, you'll read all of that. What is happening in the social platforms and all today, basis what choices you make, you're getting thrown more of that, so it's like an echo chamber. So you're getting deeper immersed without you knowing that technology is conditioning you. Of course, it's a bigger challenge than previously. It's not that it didn't exist earlier.
Yeah,
because these are choices you make.
You're consuming faster.
Yeah.
But it has not changed.
It has not changed.
अगर change होता तब उसका result आज आ जाता. what she said ना कि आज मैं क्या करता हूँ उसका रिजल्ट बाद में आएगा ना. तो अगर हमारे नाना नानी दादा दादी अगर ने उन्होंने वो चेंज किया होता तब, तो आज ये रिजल्ट नहीं देखना होता. You would have seen a beautiful world, but you haven't. That means something has gone wrong there also.
So let's see what people can do today to make sure at least the next gen doesn't
Exactly.
see this. Maybe that's
and when you understand that and you're still not doing it, that means आपकी सोच में कोई खोट है.
So that's the line. You understand it and you're still not doing it.
Yes. Yeah. That's a very powerful.
So the content creator has a choice. The content consumer has a choice.
Absolutely.
So creator is not in my control, but I'm the consumer. So I need to exercise my choice. And we're all able to do it. It's not that we are not, but if we don't, that's that creativity. If you don't exercise that choice, then you become a victim to it. Because then there's a thin line between consuming to becoming addictive. So many of us reach that stage and then we say, I don't have a choice. I thought I will use the phone for 10 minutes, but it's an hour that's passed. Means you're living a life of not awareness. You don't even know that time is passing. It's not, but you're allowing yourself to get sucked into it. So when you start working on yourself a little bit, you shift from that auto mode of living to this awareness mode of living. So that's where spirituality will help you even with that. Like spirituality helps us with any kind of de-addiction. We are addicted to so many things. Some people are just addicted to shopping. Some people are addicted to talking. So, but when you start living from awareness, it automatically starts shifting. That because now you're living of awareness, you're aware of your time, you're aware of your thoughts, you're aware of the value of everything that you're doing. You're so much focused on your inner working, then that conscious living comes naturally. So shifting from that auto word of living to a conscious way of living is that life of awareness. Then you are choosing because you started actually choosing your every thought. So why would you not choose every action? That's only a result of your thought. So it will help even there.
Yeah. And therefore that word, I am stressed, this will all go away.
Yeah.
And even with people, right? I mean, again, I'm coming back to this large number of creator economy because we're seeing that happen and many people are deriving their livelihoods now completely, by being creators of content or influencers. To them, how do you stay grounded? Like someone like you, has seen so much success, but it's like, how do you balance, success versus failure versus, and I know you had a lot of challenges in the initial times, to where you are. What's that formula or what has worked for you? Is there something that people can learn from in today's world?
I would say, sports have taught me a lot. Sports has taught me the time I spend, on the field. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not worried about nothing. I'm just worried about so focused on the game that 1 hour or 1.5 hours, nobody can, shake me with anything because I'm so focused there on the ball. So it has taught me that focusing is so important. That focus. That if I suppose in the film, now for example, I've shot something for example, I remember in Piku particular scene we have shot something. And in that moment of shooting that went off, this particular word, when I came on the edit table, I realized that word was really, really not good. It was very bad, word which was going and which is expressing the scene in a different way. Now, if I just pluck that word out, the entire dynamics of the scene changes to something else. But that word was making that scene so naked. Versus I plucked that scene out and it made so much more philosophical, that scene. So it is that, point by point that you will have to go through your script, your casting, what's wearing, what are they eating, what are the mannerisms, where do I put the camera? There are so many... sometimes I have done mistakes, on that also. Those things I want to correct, that my camera angle was wrong. because it was giving a different expression altogether. My camera should nowadays used to earlier when in my time there was all now also I think there was some item numbers are must in a film. I said, why it's a must in a film? So all that, why it's important for a film. So sometimes you have a control, sometimes you don't have a control when you are distributing or making a film, because there is so much money involved, people, so many people come with but I have to be very honest with my core. That is the story that I am going and that I am delivering. You will have to deal with these edges on every, and you have to sometimes you have to convince it out, sometimes you have to fight it out, you have to find many ways to
navigate.
You will have to, because you will have to do that, and sometimes you will have to navigate by overpowering somebody, or you have to navigate by taking a curveball, all that you have to do, because deep inside that's not right for either for me or what I am saying or what I am doing. So that happens in a cinema, and cinema में बहुत ज़्यादा होता है because you are dealing with hundreds of people, and what is made is made. You cannot, now I cannot stop my film what I have already made. I can see those mistakes. Many other people can, but many other people may not identify that mistake. But I can see that. I can very clearly see that. So if I can see my film's mistake, then I can definitely see my life's mistakes also. As I said, humans बहुत चालाक होते हैं, उनको मालूम होता है कि क्या गलतियां की है, एक्सेप्ट बेशक नहीं करें, लेकिन मालूम होता है कि मैंने क्या क्या गलती किया है, who the people I have hurt, who the people I have behaved wrong, who are the people I could have done better, where my Maya has played worst. So I know all that, and I think these are all correction methods. You correct on every step. So एक दिन में नहीं हो जाता वो. It takes every single moment. But if you really want, it can happen like that also. If I really want to change right now, I can change right now. I'm changed. If I tell myself, I will change, because you're telling your mind to change, and it is happening.
Oh, that is the power of what you just said, and I think Sister Shivani keeps mentioning every time that power of that affirmation. Right? It just comes and hits, and you can change it that instant. And actually, Shoojit, what you just explained is really what sets you apart, right? Because not only do you look at that, you're able to understand this humanism. And I'm coming back to that word because I think it's so important to be able to look at content meaningfully, to be able to see what has gone into it from somebody like you, to give an outcome that people are not only able to enjoy, relate to, but I think most importantly, I want to use the word today, trust. And therefore, we're all excited about what you're going to produce next. Because, that's where, you have an opportunity to shape so many more minds, and as we go forward, and as Sister Shivani says, after you go through a day's journey, and even in our ThinkRight, daily journey, after she gives an affirmation, in the evening, it's about reflecting on what you did with that. And that reflection can either bring about an instant change and transformation in your life, or help you progressively become more disciplined and understand yourself better till you reach that inflection point when you have crossed across. So I just think this conversation has been so wonderful, and we can keep going on, but we have one section in this conversation which is like a mindful minute, where I'll just pose some sharp questions. I mean, just simple questions, but request you to answer it in a little crisp way so that everyone can relate to it. So maybe Shoojit, with you, what's the first thing you do in the morning to set your tone for the day?
Nowadays, it's like I cuddle my dogs. I think that gives me a lot of energy. And I have got plants outside, so I just go and look at my plants and then sit there. So first thing, I just go and sit quietly. Yeah.
And I'm going to move to Sister Shivani. We've talked about creativity and cultivating creativity. We also talked, Shoojit mentioned about the focus on one word, right? In an affirmation, the words are so important. Can you share with us an affirmation that will cultivate creativity?
In creativity in what we do?
Yeah, an affirmation that anyone can take to to cultivate creativity or enhance creativity? What's the right choice of words that we should be using?
I'm a pure being. You first need to be pure to be creative. There's a lot of clutter here. There's no creativity. You're just going to live through what you have done in the past. So the first affirmation for that will be, I'm a pure being. I choose newness in every response. So it's new. You're not going to just respond the way you have been. You're choosing newness. So the higher you will go up in your vibration, creativity will automatically come. What he has taken with him in his creativity is the ability to stand for the right, even if you are the only one, and to face whatever is going to come in return for that. Very powerful sanskar. Very, very powerful sanskar. To stand for the right. Even there's so much at stake, like he said. Of course, there's so much at stake. And sometimes you can go and make that right thing and it might not be that big a commercial thing. What if you would have manipulated a little bit, if you would have added, like he said, a little this. So it can be so tempting. And then people will choose the other option and say, no, but that is what will get me success. To stand for the right karma. इससे अच्छी creativity कुछ नहीं. Because that just makes you completely different from the rest of the world in the present time, where everybody's just ready to bend just so that they can get outer success. So that is also the secret of that inner creativity.
One film that has impacted you the most?
Oh, that is Satyajit Ray's Oppu trilogy. I think Ray's Oppu trilogy is a Bible for me of understanding life, cinema, everything that Ray's, yeah. And another one is there, Bicycle Thief. Desika, yeah.
You haven't watched film for 25 years, but
Many
in the
years,
earlier
at
days, you watched some film and you were saying, what is that film that has impacted you or something that has stayed with you in your mind? A film that has stayed with you and maybe something that came out of the film that you've carried through.
I don't remember the past too much only now. That's another, not really. I can't think of it. Probably I was not looking at films in that way also at that time to learn. Maybe I was not at that stage. I was not even making that. I really don't remember anything.
If you were to create a film today, what would it envisage?
Create a film. I was just sharing with him before we started this podcast. Please create a film to show people that the power they have here to create miracles in life. Because we have so many films which show people, oh, he was an ordinary person, he created this miracle, he became so and so, he was able to do this, he was able to win, the good over evil. We've created films on all those subjects, but it's in the outer world. So I was just sharing with them to create a film on how we can create that miracle in our inner life. I mean, if somebody had to really learn that from a cinema point of view and get inspired, probably some minds will shift.
Shoojit, you work with many actors, who have done so well, right? In this entire industry. What is that? Is there something, you see a common thread amongst the people who project your creativity, right? Is there a common thread that sets them apart from others?
I mean, there are two sides to it also. Of course, first I will say that all the people that I've met from, even if big actors who are all the time living in this world of fans and people and stardom, normal people. I think they are very normal. So that one observation is that deep core inside, they're very normal people. Like for example, Irrfan would be, all day, suppose he's gone for narrations, he's shooting, and he'll call me around 4 o'clock. Whenever I used to get a call around 4 o'clock, I know that he's stressed out on the all day. He'll come here, he'll want to have some really good Kolkata Darjeeling tea, and he want to have one jhalmuri, and he want to sit with me. Yahan pe aayega baithne ke liye. So that will happen, and my office is in Juhu, absolutely in the corner. So I know that. So I could gauge that there is so much of to be normal. Of course, people have made them so much, as a star and, hyped them so much. But if they start treating them normal, they're very normal people. And that's also the reason they get spoiled also, on the other hand. So So it's this both of these observations that I have seen, Yeah. Irfan didn't get spoiled at all, I feel. I mean, I was so sure about him.
You had a very special relationship with him.
Yes, I mean, because during his 2 years of his treatment, I think I spoke to him quite a lot. I mean, we were on the phone. Suppose he's just come out of a chemotherapy and he's in London and for 2 hours, and I didn't know what to talk. After a point, I would get exhausted. I said, I don't know what to tell him, because he was deep inside. He was craving something should happen, because he was struggling through. Should I go for an alternate therapy? Should I go for this modern day allopathic medicine of chemotherapy? Should I go for a surgery? So there are a lot of things, and I was also at that time studying a lot of medical science and talking to people. Now I realize I wish I would have told him go for alternative therapy. So at that time, I don't know, maybe it struck me quite late that I could have told him. I mean, anyway, he survived 2 years with that. So I think all that comes to my mind now, those conflicting ideas. But he was the one I would talk to him, and we became very close during his treatment days. Because there was a guilt also in me that he was supposed to work in Sadarudam and he could not work in Sadarudam. So that was also working inside me. So, and I was talking. So yeah, we became quite close, and he was looking for. I gave him books on meditation and spirituality. I would whenever he was in Bombay for a few months, and then he'll go away for London for another treatment, I would go and I will sit with him like across. I will do some breathing with him, some exercises with him. You'd feel good. Yeah, I mean, but it was a different Irfan that I saw, and then we became very close then,
I think the evolution of a person.
I think that suffering makes you a lot of that evolution happens, but I think that is also a learning. Do you want to wait for the suffering to learn, or do you want to learn? That's also another mathematics that you want to play with your mind or yourself. So yeah.
I think that's one point, as you normally say, right? Is the shift that comes in. Maybe that's the last question to you, is for aspiring filmmakers, creators. Anything that they should be
I think
aware
like
of,
all
think
of us, they do. I think most of them would have some practices, but they should also spend that early morning time with themselves, because living in a world of people connect, people responses, people feedback, people appreciation, people criticism, your mind becomes very dependent on what the world has to say about you. You sometimes, and world doesn't mean the outer world. The world also means your world of people around you. But that you knowing your own self, but sometimes we don't know ourselves. So, but you knowing your own self is such an important thing, because otherwise sometimes I'll become something else just because everybody around me believes that I am that. So, whatever method we use, whether it's breathing, whether, like brother said, sitting with plants, spending some time doing nothing, just being with yourself, whether it's meditation, reflection, helps you to remain connected with yourself. So everything outside will keep changing. You can be here and tomorrow be here. But that inner world, you should be knowing yourself and see how you are moving with that change. Because when something outside is changing, when inner, there is a change. Whether that inner change is in the right direction.
And I think this conversation has been so much about that, Shoojit. Right from the way you began, from playing football to your journey in theatre to this, is that the situations around you kept changing, and internally you've probably grown stronger to be able to stand for greater conviction in everything you've done, the people you have met. This conversation's been so enriching, especially about the relationships you built along the way, and how your cinema is, building trust with the next generation and the generations to come. And I think what amazes me most about cinema is that, like you rightly said, it just stays. Nothing changes, and it was relevant at that period of time, and people, when they can relate to it from that period, right, it has a different meaning compared to what it was. So I think your contribution to India and to the world will be great, and we look forward to a lot more to come. And thank you so much for being here with us for this podcast. And of course, Sister Shivani, thank you so much for adding that dimension, that and that lens with which people can view their daily life and transform themselves at a much better place.
Thank you so much. Thanks. Thank you, sister.
Thank you.
You too can start or enhance your mindfulness journey using the ThinkRight app on iOS and Android store. It's got a huge number of daily affirmations, daily journeys, daily meditations that will enable us to hold your hand as you move in this transformative journey of life.